As you know, the goal of our time together is really to help develop a vision and a set of goals that you can actually make happen in your life. So today's topic, we've been building up to this, is goals. How can we determine what kind of goals? Goals lead to vision. That's where we're headed, right? First of all, question, are goals biblical? Right? So look at this. For it's by grace that you've been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it's a gift of God. Very famous passage, right? Not by works, so that no one can boast, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works. If we're called to do good works, now God has a huge part of this, right? It's not like you can, if you're doing something outside of the will of God, it's not godly. But there's a role we have to play in this life. And if we set goals, we're trying to live intentionally, right? If we can live intentionally, we can set these goals. It's okay. Or here, Proverbs, go to the ant, O sluggard, observe her ways and be wise, which having no chief, officer, rulers, prepares her food in the summer and gathers provisions in the harvest. So preparation for what we need to do in life really makes a huge difference. You know, as I've thought about the book, the Michael Hyatt book that we've been using as our foundation of this whole goal setting, he actually breaks down goals into two big categories. He talks about achievement goals and habit goals. Achievement goals are things that you want to accomplish, and habits, right? Those are patterns that you have in your life. And interestingly, I was reading this morning on the internet, and I saw an article that said, why I don't make goals anymore. And as you read this guy's article, from a Christian perspective, is instead he says, I want to build in systems into my life and positive habits. And I guess he kind of poo-pooed the idea of achievement goals. I'm not sure I totally agree with him, but I do believe that what's going to make your life better is to develop habit goals. I think that's probably the biggest thing what we can talk about. There's achievement goals. I think those are valuable. So anyways, when we talk about goals, Hyatt says that we need to make smarter goals. S-M-A-R-T-E-R. Each represents something else. The first one is specific. It can't be a vague goal. Vague goals don't work. It's got to be specific. It's measurable. That means that you know when you've accomplished it. All right, so you choose to run a marathon by December 31st. It's measurable. It's a marathon, right? It's actionable. That one I kind of struggle with what it meant. A good example is you could say, I want to be more health conscious, okay? But that's not as good as I'm going to walk 30 minutes 5 times a week. Something that's very actionable that you can do. R is an interesting one. It should be risky. Risky? Yes. It's something that's going to stretch you. Don't just make a lame goal. Something that's going to push you to something. I mean, don't say, I want to increase my income by 3%. If you really have some kind of a financial goal, maybe it's 20%. Pick a number, right? It should be time-keyed. Time-keyed. So pick a date. I want this to happen by such and such a date. It should be exciting. Now there's boring goals and there's exciting goals. Pick something that's going to energize your heart. It's something that you are self-motivated to do. And then lastly, it's something that's relevant. By the way, you may have heard the SMART goal, S-M-A-R-T. This adds a couple of different things. And relevant, by the way, means it's something that's going to work in your life. So let's say you want to complete an Ironman triathlon next year. Okay, that sounds like a great goal, but you're working 60 hours a week, you got little children at home, and the amount of time that's going to take to prepare, no. I mean, you've got to make it so it works in the context of where you're at in your life. So there may not be what you want, it's got to work, right? So let me give you some examples of some goals that Hyatt has in some different categories. So he's got like 8 categories. Spiritual, for example. I'm going to set aside 15 minutes in the morning, 6 days a week for reading prayer starting January 1st. See how that might work? I'm going to journal at least 5 minutes at the end of each day. Okay? There's like habit goals. How about intellectual goals? I'm going to read 2 books per month starting, August 1st or something like that. Or I'm going to buy a foreign language program and learn Spanish by November 1st. Okay, that's actually one of my goals. One of my habit goals is I spend about 10 minutes every day practicing Spanish. Emotional might be I'm going to research and find a therapist, a counselor, and start sessions by some specific date, August 1st or something. Physical, all right? I'm going to run 30 minutes each day, 4 days a week, starting at 6:30 in the morning or something like that, right? Marital, I'm going to plan 2 regular dates each month and put them on my calendar by August 1st. Pick a date, right? Parental, I'm going to leave the office, maybe not so appropriate because we're all in our offices right now, and have enough time for dinner with my family. Social, I'm going to join an athletic club or a training thing, and I'm going to join it by such and such a date. Vocational, I'm going to launch a new product by March 30th or something like that. Financial, I'm going to pay off the remainder of my car loan by, you get the idea. So here's what I want us to do. I want to just teach you about goal setting. We're going to have to write these goals. So when we meet together, so don't write them now unless you really like feeling like I got to do this. We're going to write a couple of goals during our face-to-face time, and then we're going to reflect back on each other what those goals might be. You might think about it's an achievement goal, a habit goal, and to help you think about this, remember there's these areas. They could be spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical, marital, parental, social, vocational, avocational, or financial. And I want you to pick at least 1, maybe 2, where you're going to write one of those goals out. What sort of pops for you? So yeah, folks, I'm so excited for us to figure out what we're all about, and ultimately, it's only going to happen as we submit ourselves to Jesus, because Jesus will help and show us who we are. I mean, he's told us who we are in His Word. You know, we're a royal priesthood, a holy nation. We are people belonging to God. We are part of His kingdom, and He's got a lot of stuff for us to be about, and so we need to ask Him, but then we have a role to play, and as we write the goals and we live out our lives intentionally, we're gonna help change the world for the gospel and for the kingdom. We'll see you guys.